Hey guys, Alex here, and we got the brand new M4 MacBook Air. Now, not a lot has changed since the previous generation, but this is still the best bang for your buck computer that you can buy, especially now that Apple has lowered the price. So this is now $999 US, $899 if you have the student discount. And if you're here in Canada like me, it is a little bit steeper due to our Canadian dollar being in the gutter. So we're looking at around $1,400 for this machine in the base spec. But getting into the unboxing, there's not much different from any other unboxing. We of course get the MacBook itself. Now this year they did give us a new sky blue color, but I'm just a fan of the darker colorways, so I did opt in for the midnight. I just think it looks the best. But moving on, in the box we also get a color matched USB-C to MagSafe charging cable. And lastly, of course, the charging brick. Now this one is the 30-watt variant, and there is two USB-C cables if you want to plug in multiple devices. You can get one with 70 watts, so if you want some faster charging, you can opt in for that. It is a little bit extra, but I already have a whole bunch of high watt output chargers at home, so I didn't really need one, so I just kept it with the default 30-watt charger. Now, like I said, I did get mine in the midnight color. I just like these a little bit more. I like the darker colors, and the new sky blue is just very light and silvery. It's hardly even blue. But if you do want a different color, you can also choose between silver and starlight. As far as the rest of the design, this is still pretty much exactly the same as the previous two generations of MacBook Airs. We still get the two USB-C ports on the side, as well as the MagSafe port, and of course the 3.5mm headphone jack. And by design, MacBooks are of course really light and compact, very travel friendly. They don't have internal fans, so they are a little bit thinner than the Pros. And you do have two display size options. You have the 13 and 15 inch. I opted in for the 15 because I do like a little bit more screen real estate, and I've been using the 16-inch MacBook Pro for a long time, and I didn't want to downgrade the screen too much. But of course, if you are looking for the most compact, light, travel-friendly option possible, the 13-inch is definitely a great fit. Now again, there's not much difference from the previous MacBooks. You still have the same chiclet keyboard, the same trackpad, the same speakers, and the same IPS liquid retina display. Really, the main differences on this new M4 MacBook Air is the updated webcam. It's now got 12 megapixels with center stage available, so if you're in meetings and you move around, the camera kind of follows you around. Personally, I don't know anybody who uses this. I always disable it, but if you like it, it is now available. Also, of course, there is the new M4 chip in here, which has some improvements over the previous M3 chip. Honestly, nothing enough to really warrant you upgrading from an M3 or even M2. But if you have maybe like an M1 MacBook Air or even an Intel-based one, and I think I might be one of the last people on this planet to have an Intel-based MacBook Air. I hardly really even use this. I bought this for my wife. She doesn't really even use it. But if you still have one of these, the silicon-based MacBook Airs are an absolute great upgrade for you. This technology in here is absolutely archaic. Definitely upgrade if you have one of these. The M4 MacBook Air also has more base memory than any of the previous generations. A lot of times if you want to future-proof your laptop, or you do a little bit more intensive work like video or photo editing, you would definitely want to upgrade to the 16 gigabyte version. Well, this MacBook Air now starts with 16 gigabytes of RAM, which is going to cover maybe 95% of people across the board. And there's really not much that this M4 can't handle. Like honestly, these MacBook Airs are an absolute powerhouse. They are fully capable of editing 4K timelines, even running games, if of course you can find some compatible ones. But it is at the end of the day a very capable machine that'll pretty much be able to do everything that you need it to do. The MacBook Airs over the years have honestly become a very capable machine, to the likes of which I don't think people are choosing between the Air and Pro based on performance anymore, because the M4 chip can just do pretty much everything that you're going to need it to do. So upgrading to the Pro simply because of performance is a very specific audience, people who are doing very intensive work on their laptops and they need a little bit more power and those fans for the sustained performance. But for most people, when it comes to performance, the Air is going to be able to handle their tasks just fine. Really, the biggest difference, I think, between the Airs and Pros comes down to the ports you're looking for and the display. And that is pretty much my one complaint with the MacBook Air. I want that Pro display in here. I understand that Apple wants to reserve some of these features for their higher model just to incentivize people to buying them. But I just think that the M4 Air is in such a sweet spot. There's really not much more we can ask from this laptop except a better display. I want 120Hz ProRes refresh rate. I want the mini LED technology. I want a brighter display. And I think that the Air can handle it. It's got the battery, it's got the technology in here. And it's really the only thing missing from this Air. It's really the next thing that I would want in this laptop. Apart from that, it is pretty much a perfect product. And what's great about this generation of MacBook Air is this is the first year where I can confidently say that you can buy the base spec of this laptop and it should be able to cover pretty much every use case for 95% of the people out there. Like I said, with the previous generations, they used to come in 8 gigabytes on the base model. You would definitely want to upgrade that to 16, if not 32, just to future-proof yourself. But now that it comes with 16 as the starting RAM, this is definitely enough to cover pretty much everybody. Now, as far as storage goes, I still think 256 is not that much. I tend to upgrade this, even though I know it's an absolute robbery. I just like the convenience of having more storage on the laptop and I don't have to deal with external drives. But I think for most people, 256 is enough to get by, especially with all of the cloud storage providers we have these days. The one thing I'd maybe say, if you want to upgrade, I would get the better charger for the 70-watt charging so you can charge this a little bit faster. And the best part about all of this is Apple has actually reduced the price of the MacBook, which is not something we hear often these days. Prices are constantly going up, especially with everything going on in the world between tariffs, inflation, and this and that. So it's honestly amazing to hear. They could have kept the price the same, and I think people would have been happy with that because we're already so used to getting price increases that having a price stay the same year over year is pretty amazing in and of itself. But having them reduce the price by $100, yeah, it makes this machine really easy to recommend. I would definitely say if you're in the market for a new laptop and you don't care about the extra ports or the better display on the MacBook Pro, this is definitely a great pickup. All right, let me know if you're planning on picking up the new Air, but that's gonna do it for this video. I'll catch you guys in the next one. Peace.